from the grave?
Well, whatever you can do.
Sure. I think everybody would agree that if we could do something, we would, but...
Yes, it's not as though we...
Whoa, you're hung up. I got you. Go ahead.
Not as though we have any particular animosity towards the Big Bopper. It's
right.
We can't really bring anybody back to life, so him specifically, it's nothing personal.
He certainly wouldn't be the first that I'd think of.
Well...
Maybe not even in the top 10, but
He never even got to release an album.
Oh, yeah, but again, is that really our problem? See, this is...
Could be.
It was his problem.
Well, you wouldn't want at least one Big Bopper album?
I don't think I would.
Wow. Man. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that.
Well, what can you say?
There's really nothing I can say. All right, are we ready?
Sure.
All right. Good evening. Welcome to Having a Drink with Mink. I'm your host, Jason Mink.
And I'm not.
Joined by my brother, Dennis Miller.
How you doing?
I wanted to show you this.
I don't want to touch it.
Oh, yeah, you do.
I don't.
Come on.
Is it a Mego sock? Please tell me it's a Mego sock.
What? It's nice. It's nice. You like.
What the hell is that?
This was on that $6 Million Man figure.
Okay.
I was like, oh, cool. He still has one of his socks. He's supposed to be bionic. I wouldn't think that he have like a big
scabby bloody
right,
mark on his sock.
Yeah. It's kind of nasty, but I don't know. I'm hoping I can get it out with a little bit of TLC. You know what I mean? I've been carrying it around in my pocket all day.
Just for that joke.
You always got to have a little bit of business, By the way, would you like one of these?
Mr. Good? No. It's not the same.
Right. Well, fortunately, we also have these. Now, let everyone know what you didn't know just a minute ago.
Well, apparently in 1979, there was an ad campaign, Roll a Rolo to your friend.
Pal. You can roll a Rolo to your pal.
And he'd roll it back again.
It's chocolate-covered chewy caramel.
There you go.
Right. And back then, we didn't have festive colors like this.
No,
we just had to make do with these, gold ones.
Right.
But
and they came in a tube,
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. It was like almost
paper
like
tube.
bullets in a cartridge
I
or
loved
something
them.
like that.
They were always my favorite.
When it comes right down to it, what do you call it? It stuck to your insides.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's that caramel.
Yeah. No, these are good, and we'll save these for later.
There you go.
As you can see, we have so very much to talk about,
we
obviously.
Do.
What's the story here? Where did these come from?
Well, luckily enough, we were out and about at our local Walmart, as you do, doing some shopping, and I always check the Mego aisle. And usually it's nothing but Star Trek Discovery Megos that no one wants.
Right.
So, I looked, and at first I didn't see anything.
Right.
And then, as Michelle was pointing, I believe, to the AC/DC Funko Pops, I immediately, my head just snapped. I saw them, and I ran over, and they're the 50th anniversary Megos that are out now. I was shocked that they were there. And, of course, I immediately called you
right.
and said, hey, you want a set? And, of course, you did. So here they are.
Yeah, okay. Now, this is my set. Your set is next door. We're going to open these up.
Yes.
Now, first impressions, you don't really recall packaging as far as it
Not
goes.
so much.
You're
I was a little younger.
Myself.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But I do remember the figures very well. But it's, I remember getting a boxed Superman once.
Right.
But, that was towards the end runs,
Right. Well, Mego had initially created an action figure called Action Jackson. And the idea was that was going to compete with G.I. Joe, but he was an 8-inch figure, so you could make him cheaper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was available, in like 5 and dimes and stuff like that, because Mego had been long producing toys for that market. And so it seemed like a no-brainer. But Action Jackson, he didn't really sell all that well as far as it goes. I don't have one, and that actually pains me as a Mego collector. I should have
That's
a
the
couple
first
different.
one.
Now,
didn't
exactly.
he come with different outfits to make him into superheroes and whatnot?
Well, oddly enough, it was the reverse of that. Mego had all these bodies left over, and they were able to finagle both the license for DC and Marvel, as far as I understand it. And so they did their initial wave, and that was Robin, Batman, Superman, Aquaman, and then, no, he wasn't in the first wave, and Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, right.
Was actually there as well. Now, obviously, Spider-Man is here, but Mego doesn't have the license to reproduce those. And they put them out in these boxes initially, and later on, they were in the more common, like, bubble cards.
Cards, right.
Right, exactly. And that's how a lot of people knew them. But for me as a kid, these boxes were magical, and their reproductions are just top of the line.
Well, except you're not a huge fan of the...
Yeah, this is a little much.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
said if it was smaller and in a different position, maybe. But
right.
I like the crest,
ostentatious.
but again, I don't have that connection with the boxes that you do.
Well, at this point, it's kind of easy to look past it because there's so very much more to appreciate about it. It's just like they seem to have gotten the color right. They're using the original artwork, unlike the FTC figures, which had used like 80s style artwork. They emulated those figures, but they weren't necessarily straight up reproductions like these are. And so seeing these is just a blast for anybody who had them
when I saw them on
the day.
I saw them on the pegs. I literally was giddy like a little kid. I mean, I wanted to get them all, and I was like, why do you need like 4 sets of the same guy? And then
see the last video. 3 Spider-Mans.
Right. And another voice in my head said, why not? That's an army builder, bud, But,
or trade bait.
Trade bait, sure.
Get you some of those Action Jackson figures.
There's still some out that we have yet to obtain.
Right.
Now there's Aquaman, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, and Shazam, correct?
I think... We've seen pictures. I'm not really sure what's coming when, because these guys kind of surprised a lot of folks. Superman initially seemed to slip out.
Yeah.
We were seeing like just Supermen.
Right.
And then these guys hit, and they hit hard. And so now people seem to have these. But as far as when these guys come out, who can say? Not only are they recreating the Aquaman, the Green Arrow, and the Captain Marvels here, but they're also doing a Flash and a Green Lantern, and neither one of those characters were ever done as Megos.
Right. No, I'm excited.
I'm not really sure how I feel about it.
I'm excited because I'd like to have a Mego of Green Lantern and Flash to hang out with the rest of the Justice League. I do have to get a Wonder Woman, but I'm going to end up getting a reproduction because Wonder Woman, was, I guess considered the girls' Mego.
They were a separate line.
Right.
While these are the world's greatest superheroes, those were the world's greatest super gals.
Right. Well, they're harder to get. And they're more expensive, and I don't have that kind of. I don't have Wonder Woman money, So, but Figures Toy Company,
who does?
You can get, the Wonder Woman for a decent price, and it looks great.
Right, exactly. Especially if you're just going to take them off the card,
Speaking
like
of which.
we are. Right. Yeah, we are going to take these out of the box. But once again, I just want to take a better look at these. Now, these have emulated that classic Mego style right down to those colors.
I love the paint color on that.
Right, and it makes it pop so much. If they had put this Batman in a blue box, it would get lost in there. If you put this Superman in like a red box,
or a blue box,
it wouldn't have nearly the impact. So kudos to Mego for going all the way, really nailing the packages, and start opening them. Why not?
Well, I think the big one I'm looking forward to is the Batman, because this is.
Well, here.
a removable cowl Batman, and they did it. It seems like a different way because it used to be like a big hard plastic cowl. Yeah, new way, and now it seems like it's a very
grab a Batgirl's cowl.
Oh yeah, so this is what we're talking about. It was a nice hard plastic cowl. It went on his head and whatnot. Now this seems to be form fitting. And that's going to be a little weird.
It's almost like condom-like.
Yeah.
Now, do you need, will those twist off, or
no,
you need sticky?
I don't know that sticky would do it. I think you'd want to do scissors for these because, like, you're going to, you know what I mean?
Scissors?
Yeah.
Larry, can we get Sir Basil Snippington on the set, please?
Yeah, so there he is. And what are your first impressions? Okay.
What are your first impressions?
Well, okay, the vinyl gloves
very on
are they're different,
right.
Which I like because we were just talking about the old mitts and how they would just fly off all the time.
Now this is a vintage Mego Batman, and his mitts, they do have a tendency to come off. As you can see, his sleeves are kind of wrinkled because, you try and jam them on there, but they do fall off. Now, as a young person, I would just take them off. I would have been happy if they just molded his hands in blue. Mm-hmm. I could have done without this stuff. But nonetheless, once again, kudos for them reproducing the figure fairly accurately.
Yeah.
That seems to be the right shape.
Yeah.
It's
just the
I'm not sure
material.
what's going on here. It's
material's a little different.
Yeah, definitely. Take it on off. See what that's like. See.
They stand very well, I'll say that.
Yeah, see, I don't like how it's squished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like they put like a heat
to it to like almost form into the hand.
Right, yeah.
Well, this one I never noticed. The Figures Toy Company one is almost, it's pretty similar.
Oh, right.
So maybe they're doing the same thing there.
Oh, be careful. Make sure you can get that thing back on there. Look, see how they have it pulled over his thumb there?
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Robins are like the Figure Toy Company Robins. I don't want to jump the gun here, but those are actually like the vintage ones. They come right off.
Right.
And they're just a menace. My cats get them. It's those and his shoes come off rather easily.
Right.
So you have to be very careful. But yeah, the new one, he looks great.
Yeah, okay. Now, it seems, unlike your Batman, this is the Figures Toy Company Batman.
Yes.
That one has a heat-sealed emblem on its chest.
Yes, that's a sticker.
This is a sticker. Now, for all the talk about how great it is that they're emulating these classic figures, the sticker was always the big flaw in these, because no matter how well you handled them, they would come off ultimately.
Superman's is just so awkwardly placed. Like, there's no way to clearly fix it because of the shape. So there's always like a part of it that's up. And so as a kid, you're going to lose that sticker.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating because then you have a Superman without a sticker, and a lot of people would draw it on, with a marker or whatnot. And would you lose one?
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's down
Larry,
there
you think
now.
You could get that?
No, don't bother. we'll get that later. But ultimately, the real concern here is this hood.
It's the cowl.
Because this is meant to be the removable cowl, Type 1 Batman.
Right.
Underneath here,
Bruce Wayne.
Shh, don't tell.
Everybody knows.
Right, supposedly. But this is like very different because that, where's the Batgirl cowl?
Yeah.
This is like a hard plastic.
And was very easy to get on and off.
This is almost like the kind of thing that you would get out of a quarter machine,
Like one of those old helmets.
Right, yeah, a football helmet.
Yeah.
Whereas this is much more,
Pliable?
It's more like Plastidip.
Okay, yeah.
A dried Plastidip.
Well, it came right off.
But it came right off, and there he is.
Oh, he looks just like the original Bruce Wayne figure, which is super expensive.
My secret identity revealed. Oh no!
Is that the Montgomery Ward exclusive Bruce Wayne figure with the with the gray like tweedy suit.
Well, the thing is, they didn't actually give you the figure. They gave you the head and the outfit, and they expected you to rip the head off your figure and jam it on there. That wasn't easy. The other day, I was attempting to take a... technically, he wasn't even a vintage one, but it was. I was pulling Ralph Macchio's head off a figure, and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
How dare you? Why? Because he's a deer killer, huh?
Yeah. Let's not start that whole thing up again. But nonetheless, I thrilled to have him after all this time.
Yes.
Yeah. Initially, the only way you could get him was in that set, and I would think that you would constantly have to be running to one of your parents, who would need to take like a flathead screwdriver to get this neck in and out. I think Mego was hoping, you know what? It's such a pain in the ass.
They'll just
buy you a couple more,
right,
and they'll leave that head on there. And I mean, ultimately, Mego really did miss a trick, because they could have, put those figures out just on the card, or given them to you in something like the Hall of Justice, or the Batcave, or even like the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Thrown you a figure and really added to their value. But hey, they weren't listening to me. They were busy. You know what I mean?
My biggest question is, are you ever going to put the cowl back on, or is he just going to be Bruce? Because for me, mine's probably going to be Bruce. I'm going to put a suit on him, and he's going to be Bruce Wayne.
Ultimately, I'm going to draw a little mouth on my finger, and I'm gonna right, exactly. Well, I'll get on the streetcar, and anyone who's listening to their phone without headphones, I'll be like, "Hey, buddy, don't you know that's annoying to everybody?
I am the knight.
I am the knight." Right, exactly. We'll see how that goes over. Why not?
Right.
So yeah, I gotta say, and I'm happy, because initially, in the cowl, he looked a little wall-eyed. So
yes.
I think that maybe, I can mess around with that and see about, getting that on there a little bit better. But, you can just kind of have it on there in like a casual way. You know what I mean?
Hanging out with Alfred
tuck it under his arm.
There you go.
There, you know what I mean? So he's like, "Put me in, coach."
I'm ready to play.
Right, yeah. He's definitely with it. And, as far as it goes, like the boots,
yeah, everything looks great.
Very, very nice reproductions. I mean, the color is practically spot on.
Yeah, and again,
the scalloping on the cape, wonderful.
It's above and beyond the Figures Toy Company one, because again, the Figures Toy Company doesn't match. Like the colors are just that much different.
Right.
But I have to admit, I do love that this is pressed
the
on
heat
there.
sealed emblem, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Mego did do that.
Okay, well, this is the way to go, in my opinion.
Right. Back in the day. Now, another thing I noticed is this belt is a much more solid plastic color.
Oh, no, he wants a drink.
As opposed to, yeah, exactly, just Bruce.
Yeah.
As opposed to the semi-opaque aspect of that particular belt.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
right.
That one's like a nice bright yellow. This one it's like a cheaper plastic.
Right.
Crying. He is
over you.
This is the as you would put it, the Roy Orbison Robinson.
Yeah,
Robinson.
Roy Orbison Robinson.
Right. Well, now he's got a new moniker. Well, here, these yours. You talk about it.
I gotta say, as a kid, Robin was one of those characters that I felt that
you gave to your little brother to play with.
Before you even came along, though, I would give him to Grandma to play with. Wait up, boy! Hold on, I'm coming! No, as far as it goes, I always thought that Robin made such a dynamic character all on his own. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And DC understood that as well, because even in the 1960s, they marketed the Robin model.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
they
would
show
show big
him
business.
Independently. He had his own little motorcycle that he would run around on and stuff.
As a little brother, I identified with Robin.
Right.
And, he was the Batman. I was always the Robin. But you know what? Robin was a cool enough character to where that was cool. You know what I mean? Like, being Robin was cool. I didn't have to be Batman.
And what do you notice about these two particular characters standing them side by side?
Well, they're the same size.
Exactly.
That's kind of not the way it should be, but
but nonetheless, it made them more or less equal.
Equal, sure.
Whereas the Teen Titans figures, they were small. They looked kind of puny. They looked kind of goofy. As a kid, I wanted Robin to be the same size as the other guys because it's just like I didn't necessarily feel that he was anything less. He was just another great superhero.
Right.
And this is the first incarnation with the removable mask.
That's right.
And since we've already spoiled Bruce Wayne's secret, we'll spoil Roy's
Dick
here
Grayson.
as well. That's right, exactly.
Wow.
Roy Orbison is secretly Dick Grayson.
That's right.
But, ultimately, as a kid, I never had these removable mask versions because
and if
they
we
were
did,
already
Mom would have
history.
Well, yeah, she would have lost her mind because, she had to replace our Megos often anyway. And then when you get the removable things.
I think that was all part of Mego's plan
Sure.
when it came right down to it. But
Look at the little smirk. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's devil may care, Grayson.
See, this is the figure toy company, and you got the smirk, but it's just not the same.
Well, the colors, that's definitely a much more, the kind of urine color you would find in a public toilet.
You're
You'd
in
think
big trouble.
someone needs to drink a little more water.
Yeah,
this is much truer to the classic Robin as far as I know.
Yeah, the colors are just a little bit off, and I won't say wrong. I'll say off.
Right.
Now this again,
it's not a deal breaker per se.
No,
but,
I think he still looks great, but when you put him up against the real thing,
even a replica of the real thing.
Yeah, the trouble starts to show. Well, you have the real thing.
Yeah, well, this is true. Here he is as well, and that's going to be the three.
Now
of
those
them.
two. Well, yeah, we'll do the three, and then you can see the two. Megos side by side, and this guy almost looks zombie-like in his face. If you look at the pallor,
right,
it's powdery white. Where these guys have obviously been on the beach, they're chilling.
There's that moment when it happens.
Oh God.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, just to clarify, this cape was completely jacked when I got it, so I trimmed it up. I bought some guy's vintage Mego collection, and that's why my vintage Megos have little features like you can see where he chewed it.
Only you can see, though, and that's, again, we're our own worst critics. We know all of the imperfections of our Megos. No one will ever notice.
Well, I love it because I work with this guy, and he has a tendency to be, he's a little bit of a hard ass to the customers. And I like the fact that it's I have the Batman whose ear you chewed on as a little kid, so you don't fool me. I know. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that reminds me of Fawns, you got the
the Yin Yang Fonzie, right? Exactly.
These are what
see our New Orleans video for the Yin Yang Fonzie.
There you drop that in,
right?
But no, that's what makes them unique to us,
Oh yeah, you bet. So he's pretty good. As you can see, the differences in this figure. He's got the plastic belt. He's got the molded mask.
Oh, I didn't even notice they did a fabric belt. Now, is that true to the first Type 1?
Yep.
Okay.
It's an elastic fabric with a metal clasp. But that was the thing about the Migos, is there were just so many variations. Factories across the country would use whatever materials they had.
Well, that's
and
what made the
subsequently,
Mego.
right, exactly. That's what provides us with this wonderful variety. But ultimately, there is a degree of consistency that we can see has been met by these new figures. Here's Superman.
Obviously, the vintage has had some sun damage, and the emblem's been replaced.
Yeah. All the emblems that you see on my vintage figures have been replaced, but otherwise, there aren't any reproduction parts. The gloves on Batman are original. The capes, like I said, they were trimmed because they were all threadbare. Yeah. But it's nice to have these new ones. Now, as you can see, right off the bat, the sticker, like you said, it doesn't quite fit. No. You got this definite overhang.
Yeah. Now, as an adult collector, that's not going to make much of a difference for you, But as a kid, you're playing and you're going to get it caught on something or whatever, and you might not even realize it's gone. And then it's in the Hoover.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Or your dog is chomping
Grandma,
on it.
have you seen Superman's ass?
Right.
Give it to me, I'll draw it on.
Right, exactly. And there's a lot of that on eBay. You'll see a lot of that on eBay.
Right, now, and I gotta say, like, moving the figures, which is something that I actually haven't done yet, he's very sturdy. This guy, very, very solid. Very nice representation. And he sort of has trigger fingers. Am I wrong?
That's not what I keep seeing, and I don't know if you see it, but looks like they gave Superman a bulge.
Well, there's a little something going on there.
Yeah, because I mean, look at the original. There, it's flat. There's not, but it looks like they gave him a little accent there for the ladies.
Well, when it comes right down to it, I gotta say that this new set of Megos, it's a win.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
You can't beat it. And 50th anniversary. You were quite young when these came out, but you were around. I was not.
I was this many.
I was not thought of yet, but
you were not this many at that point in time.
But no, like I said, I wouldn't trade anything for finding these at the store and bringing them home, and it's been a great experience. And Mego, just keep doing what you're doing. We want the Marvels now. So get that license, and they will fly off the damn shelves, and then reproduce the Spider car.
Right. Well, you can see how good they look together. It's just like these new figures right next to the old ones. They look great. Yeah. And I think that these are going to sell really well, because
they're
people
flying off the pegs.
Are really digging, the new vibe, and they're happy with the opportunity to walk into some place like Walmart and just see these things again.
Oh, it was a huge nostalgia. Like we said, I was a bit young to remember the boxes and whatnot, but for some reason I remember the displays, and I did get a box Superman when I was a kid. My mom picked them up for me, and at the time it was super cheap because this was, later, and I guess they were trying to blow them out. But going into that store and not seeing anything, and then, out of the corner of my eye, seeing the telltale, it was the pink of the Batman box.
Right.
And it was just, my head snapped. And I was a kid again. And I'm like, honey, we're getting these. It wasn't a question of, I wonder if I should spend this much money on plastic. It was, oh my God, I'm going to spend this much money on plastic, because I couldn't help myself. And so I know most Mego collectors are going to be like me. They see it hanging on the peg. They're going to get that instant nostalgia hit. They're going to run to it, and they're going to grab them. And, Marvel, even more so. If you had a freaking Spider car.
Green Goblin.
Oh, my God. The Green
Lizard.
Goblin, the Lizard. These are ones that are, we can't get them, Mego. So please reproduce them. They're $200, $300 on eBay. I don't have that, But $20.
It's a license to print money.
Oh, yeah.
It comes right down to it. And even if Mego couldn't do it, if Diamond could, do a few more of those.
Anybody can do it and do it faithfully. I'll gladly grab it.
Right, exactly. Ultimately, we do live in a new golden age of plastic, even though it can get kind of pricey. Mm-hmm. That's one thing to note. These guys came in at like $19.96 a piece or something.
So it was $60 for the three of them.
So that's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal value for what you get, especially when you consider you're being sold nostalgia first and a product second. But when the product is this good, well,
can't complain.
You can't complain. All right, well, thank you for joining us.
Anytime, buddy.
It's been great, and thank you for joining us as well. Until the next time, I'm Jason.
I'm Dennis.
And we're having a drink with Mink. Cheers.